Peace and divine blessings, everyone. It is Moon Goddess Ambrosia, the Fifth Force Oracle, Kim 181, the Rare Crystal Dragon, and I dedicate in order to nurture, universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And I am always grateful to share the cosmic oracle reading of evolution with you all, so that we can really see how to align ourselves with the cycles and evolve in our journey and make our life beautiful and the lives of others beautiful as well. And so here in Moon Goddess and the Healing Arts, the focus is on evolving into our multidimensional wholeness and really shifting ourselves in such a way that we create some beautiful experiences, really to evolve humanity as a whole. And so with the Cosmic Oracle reading of evolution, it is a great tool to help us to accomplish that. And so I definitely want to give thanks and gratitude to M.I.M.E.C, Synchronistic, Hueman, and all of us that show up and continue to tap in and are really dedicated to evolving as a whole. And so, Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And so, I want to start by guiding us into the mindset of a synchronaut. So a synchronaut is a energetic time traveler that is in sync with the cycles, like the natural cycles of the universe. So in your physical body, on earth, like with nature, and also extended out into the cosmos. And so it's just seeing ourselves as or I'll say being in the mindset that you are a living expression of divine synergy in motion. So you embody this life force energy in you that's animating you to be a living expression. And so by us harnessing this power, and bringing our focus to this mindset, it also opens us up to remember what our divine purpose is. Because when it comes to energy, energy is meant to create. It's meant to create. So what are we creating with our divine embodiment or our divine synergy embodied in us? And so when we remember our divine purpose, we are now moving into consciously creating so that we can fulfill our soul's mission in all spaces of time. And so that is the mindset of a synchronaut. And so as we move forward from this point on, I want you to visualize yourself as a moving vehicle, a moving vessel. Like your physical body is the car, and your life force energy that's in animating it and moving it and using the body to create is your life force. That is the driver of your physical vessel. And so if you can flow with me from that perspective as we go through the oracle reading, I feel as though it will definitely make a lot more sense. And so with that, let's go ahead and look at where the oracle readings are coming from. So in the law of time, there's what's known as the oracle board. And all of the 20 archetypes are on this oracle board. And it shows a basic template for the different aspects of that particular archetype. And so this template helps us to sustain our cosmic synergy as multidimensional beings on Earth throughout the entire universe. And how it does it is by when we're looking at the oracle board, each archetype is positioned in the center, where surrounding the archetype in the above position, that is known as the spirit guide. So when you're looking at the oracle board, you'll see that that is a blank box up there, and that depends on the galactic tone of that particular archetype, which will tell you what the which kin will be in the spirit guide position. So that's why on the oracle board itself, you see those are blank. However, on the right, the we're on kin 207, so the spirit guide will be the archetype in the spirit guide position will be the blue storm. And um, so when it goes back to like the breakdown of the oracle board itself, the spirit guide position is like the GPS. That's the compass that's helping us to navigate as the driver of this blue hand energy. And let me backtrack a little bit. Kin 207 is the blue crystal hand. So that is the sole focus for the of the kin of the plasma that we're on today, or the kinergy of the plasma today, is the blue crystal storm guided by the the blue crystal hand guided by the blue crystal storm. And down in the bottom, or in the emotional body position, we have the white wizard, specifically the white lunar wizard. And the emotional body is like the gas in the car. That's what's fueling us, giving us that emotional intelligence to evolve and be able to. Okay, so it's giving us the emotional intelligence. So the energy is fueling us, and by how it's interacting with our body, it activates our soul codes to have that intelligence of knowing what we want to create from it, or what we're being guided to create from it, based on what's being activated in us, what's motivating us to take action. And so that's how the emotional body works. Over on the left, that is the position of the mental body, also known as the challenge, and also the strength, or the gift. And so, just like, again, with us as drivers, that would help us to overcome those mental challenges in accomplishing our goals that we're focusing on. So that's like the kin in that position will help us to, figure out how to navigate through the detours, or the obstacles on the road. So like, we got to take a detour, things like that. And so that's how the mental body operates. And then last but not least, on the right side, that holds the position of the physical body, or the physical support kin. And the physical support kin um, is basically supporting all of the energy that's generated um, through the other kins. It also shows up in our physical environment as the reflections of how our energy is being expressed. And that's pretty much how the physical body would show up in relation to us being like drivers, navigating through space. So like, as the driver, the physical body will be like you being aware of the fact that you are in a body, and then also what's going on around you in your surroundings, like what's being reflected back to you, type of thing. And so in a nutshell, that is the the five aspects of the Destiny Oracle that helps us to move in this cosmic synergy, and not just think that we're physical beings, and not just think that we're emotional beings. Like, we're not just one of them, we're all of them, and they are all working together. And so that is an overview of um, the Destiny Oracle reading that we will be getting into in just a moment. And I'll spend some more time talking about the specific archetypes in itself within the Blue Crystal Hands Destiny Oracle. And so first, I want to do talk about the breakdown of the energy itself that the Blue Crystal Hand embodies. It is a part of the yellow warrior wave spell, which is us tapping into the power of our divine intelligence through asking questions and being fearless in asking those questions. And it's like the more that we ask questions, the more fearless we become. So it reminds me of that quote where it's like, people fear what they don't understand. So it's like when we allow ourselves to use our divine intelligence to ask questions, a lot of those fears actually dissolve away. Like, oh, okay, I know what I need to know about. Either I'm cool with it, I'm a go with that path, or at least I got the answers and know not to go down that path. So um, and through it all, the point of us tapping into this fearlessness of our intelligence is so that we can beautify the art with elegance. And when I say beautify the art, that's beautifying the creation that we are and are creating. And so we want to be able to create a beautiful reality for ourselves with elegance. And this wave spell is helping us to understand how to go about that journey. And so with us being on the blue crystal hand, this is the 12th archetype out of the wave spell. And it's all focused on fulfilling the mission of the yellow warrior wave spell. So just keep that in mind as I break down this, and you'll be able to see how it's showing up and getting us to that point. And so the blue crystal hand. So the blue corresponds, just like with the heptads, it corresponds to having the patience to transform the way that we are conducting ourselves. So having the patience to transform the way that we're moving in our energy and what we're creating from that. And I like to jump down to talking about the solar seal and the archetype. So the blue hand itself is known as the solar seal, and the archetype characteristics is known as the avatar. So the avatar is, our physical body, the vessel, that element. And so the blue hand, the creative power of the blue hand is the power of accomplishments through having the knowledge and the knowledge of healing. And so that knowledge of healing is what helps us to accomplish our goals. So just looking at it from an energetic standpoint, it's like when you have the knowledge of what the energy is meant to create, going through that transformation process to operate in the fullness of that energy is the healing aspect. So when you're in your wholeness, you have more clarity and you're able to accomplish the goals that you set out to do. And so that is the blue hand. And how I like to explain the galactic tone for this, we have the crystal. The way I like to explain the galactic tone is that's the vibrational frequency. So the archetype energy in itself is like untapped energy. And when we bring in the galactic tone, it brings it to life. It puts it into a vibration, which is going to create the frequencies that's being emitted. And so the crystal tone is in reference to being dedicated to cooperate, or dedicated to cooperation and universalizing. What helps me to understand the crystal tone is like, um, I say crystallize, like, because it's like when we crystallize our connection with this energy, or when we crystallize, our focus, then we're really dedicated to cooperate with it. And then also, no matter where we are, we're so dedicated in ourselves that it is shown and is represented everywhere we may be. So that would be the universalized aspect of it. And so here I have did the remix to the affirmation for the blue crystal hand, which includes some information with the alignment of its position in the wave spell, as well as the time cell information and things like that. And that you'll learn more about that when you take the courses through Synchronistic Hueman and classes through M.I.M.E.C. You'll understand a lot of how all of these aspects connect with one another a lot more. However, I'll talk about it just so briefly here before we move further. And so the blue crystal hand affirmation, first line, it says, I dedicate my divine intelligence in order to know. So that is where we are infusing the wave spell into this, well, I'll say these first two lines. So I dedicate my divine intelligence in order to know. So you're dedicated to being fearless and asking questions in order to know. Like, in order for us to get the clarity, we have to be fearless to ask. Like, we got to know how to, be clear in what we're asking for in order to know. So when we dedicate ourselves to that, we put ourselves in the position of knowing how to move in the elegance that we embody. So that brings us to the next line. So it says, in order to know my elegance by universalizing healing, or by crystallizing healing. So when we are dedicated to that divine intelligence, so that we can know how to beautify the art of who we are and what we want to create, we do this through crystallizing the healing. So the more that we heal and move ourselves into that wholeness, the more clarity we'll have, because our energy is not being scattered about trying to figure it out, or being, in that fear frequency. So when we heal ourselves from the fear and have the answers, that's us crystallizing this frequency that the blue crystal hand is doing within this wave spell. And after that, the next two lines says, I seal my memory store of accomplishment. So with all that insight that we just received by holding that focus, when we lock it into our memory, now we store the knowledge and the wisdom, or I'll leave it at knowledge at this point. We store the knowledge of how to accomplish our goals, like what we want to create from tapping into it and connecting with the energy, with the crystal tone of cooperation. So using that memory store and cooperating with it, like working together with it, that's what's going to crystallize it and help us to, continue to move forward in our accomplishments. And last but not least, the last line says, I am guided by the power of self-generation. So as we're focusing on, locking into the knowledge of healing, so that we can accomplish our goals, is being directed towards the power of self-generation. Focus on the kin today to see how to catalyze more of your energy to create your reality, to create from the energy you embody. Like for example, for me as the crystal dragon, like my energy is here to nurture everybody. Like I'm dedicated to nurturing everybody. Like I want everybody to be in harmony. So this is like how I will connect with this is like, okay, what healing do I need to like what information do I need to know to be fearless? So I will look at, what is causing me to hold myself back from nurturing. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. And so when I uncover those things and lock it into my memory, it fuels me up even more to self-generate my own nurturing abilities. You know what I'm saying? So ashe to the blue crystal hand for setting the stage for us. And so I have a one-line statement to help us lock in on this focus. So you can join me in reading it. I like to read it 3 times to really lock it in. And I also have 2 questions for us as we get into the oracle reading. I want us to reflect on these things. And so my one last statement for the focus. I am crystallizing my wholeness to know the accomplishments of my divine intelligence. So we're crystallizing our wholeness to know the accomplishments of my divine intelligence. So it's knowing what we can accomplish and have accomplished through that divine intelligence. What can we accomplish? So last time, I am crystallizing my wholeness in order to know the accomplishments of my divine intelligence. Ashe. And so the 2 questions that you can also hold in mind today is, what art are you devoted to accomplishing with your divine intelligence? So what reality, what beauty you want to bring into this world? How do you want to show up? Because you are art. You are the art. So different ways you can get some insights from that. You can start with yourself. What do you want to create? What kind of art you want to create just from your existence, from who you are? What kind of art do you want to create in your environment? What kind of art do you want to create for the community? What are you devoted to accomplishing with your divine intelligence? You embody the intelligence of the Most High divine source. So how do you want to devote that energy? So that is that first question. Second question, how can I be devoted to my knowledge and beautify the art of my wholeness? So I kind of feel like I should have put that question first, but it is what it is. It all flows how it's meant to be. So this last question is like focusing on being devoted to the knowledge that you do have, and looking at different ways you can transform your conduct from that knowledge. And by you doing that, that helps you to beautify the art of being whole. So those are 2 good questions that you can reflect on no matter where you are in your journey. It's always a way to tap in and use the kinergy of the plasma as a way to still evolve. You just have to decide for yourself, listen to your heart and spirit to know, there you go, to know which direction is meant for you to go in when tapping in. So definitely take a moment to breathe, answer some of those questions, and let's get ready for the oracle reading. All right, so the main focus for us on this plasma is to be dedicated to cooperating so that we can crystallize and universalize our healing. So being dedicated to knowing what you want to accomplish, and crystallizing the healing necessary to accomplish it. So that is the focus. So we're being guided by the blue crystal storm, which is guiding us in, is the compass guiding us in the direction of crystallizing our self-generation, crystallizing our energy. So as you're focusing on what you're here to accomplish and tap into your knowledge bank, guided towards crystallizing who you are. How do you want to show up in this world? What do you want to create from your embodiment? That is the direction that we're being guided in. Down below in the emotional body, what will give us that insight, that motivation, and that fuel. We can connect with the white lunar wizard, where this is us enchanting timelessness. So as you sit in that timeless state, really, and also dissolve, or I don't want to say dissolve like that, but I really want you to focus in on what you feel internally. Like if you can take a moment to just be tapped in and listening to your 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 emotions, sitting in that timelessness, like beyond time, like you're not even worried about what's going on around you or what you got to do next. Like don't even think about like, okay, I'll say this. If you can get like 10 minutes to meditate or to reflect, yes, give yourself that 10 minutes, but don't stress it out. Just set your timer and be like, all right, I'm going to focus wholeheartedly in getting that insight that I need. And once that timer go off, then, you can shift out of it. But the whole purpose is to operate outside that timelessness so that you can enchant the information, through that receptivity. So when you're stabilized and being receptive, that's when you will get those downloads, those insights, those epiphanies, those type of things. You just got to be receptive and be open to it. So as you sit in this energy and enchant it, you're also enchanting the fact that you want to know. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you will be able to get that fuel and motivation and those insights so that now when we look at the mental body, you know how to navigate in it. And I say that because this is the red crystal earth. You know what it's basically showing you what direction to take, how to move at this point. So how to evolve. So it says this is us being connected mentally to overcome different challenges, different obstacles with the focus of evolving. We want to evolve the way that we're navigating now that we are receptive to the knowledge that we need to heal. So it's like once you look at yourself within, it's like, okay, I want to heal these things, or I want to operate in the wholeness of this frequency. Now comes the time to evolve the way that we're navigating to actually crystallize the synchronicities that come up, that's being shown and revealed to us about the energy we putting out. So crystallizing the synchronicities will show up in our feelings, our thoughts, the way that we're perceiving things, and also what is being reflected back to us. And so if we're seeing things, having thoughts, having feelings that's not reflecting the true essence of what we want to create and experience, those are those indicators to show us like how to evolve energetically and create the alignment to reflect those synchronicities that we're actually seeking, right? So that is the red crystal earth. And so also with that, as we let go and surrender the things that does not serve us, we're able to see the reflections more clearly. So letting go of illusions, things that are not in alignment with the things that we actually want to accomplish in our journey, let go of those things so we can see the clear truth of it all. And so, yes, that is the mental body. And last but not least, on the right, we have the yellow crystal Hueman. And excuse me. The yellow crystal Hueman, again, is in the physical body position. So it's reflecting back to us how to move from the influence of our free will. So it's like when we crystallize our wholeness, we're also freeing the will of our spirit, because it's like, okay, I'm not being held back by, fear. I'm not being held back by my energy feeling scattered. We are putting ourselves in the position of crystallizing our wisdom now. And I think this is so beautiful and so divine of how this all connects. And this is why I love doing these oracle readings, because remember, the focus is on um, um, having that dedication to know the answers. So once we know the answers, we got to apply it. And when we apply it and we get the experience, then we also get the wisdom. So it's so beautiful to see how the blue hand and the yellow Hueman support each other. So it's, It's the wisdom and the knowledge. You got to have both and go through the experience of it. And so whatever it is that you are tapping into the kin of the plasma for to crystallize within your expressions, through the things that you want to accomplish, get into the mindset that you have the free will to do it. Crystallize that wisdom that you gain just by reflecting on the Destiny Oracle, because that wisdom, that knowledge is what's going to take you to the next level. And so with all of that, when we lock into this frequency, what happens is that we now release the flow of our energy. We brought our energy into that wholeness state so that we can flow better. We're not attaching other things to our energetic field that's stifling us. We get to really release the flow. We get in our own flow with it. And through that, we dissolve and become one with the magic of our own self-generation. And so Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe Yo to the Cosmic Oracle reading of evolution. And may that you got some good downloads and things with that. And one last thing I'll say before we close out, just like a quick little overview of the Destiny kin for yesterday and where this energy today is taking us into. Yesterday, Kin 206, you may have been experiencing and recognizing different ways that you need to release and surrender. Could have had a lot of clarity moments as to what cycles and patterns and all those things that are ending for you. And as you release it, it puts us in a frequency to be prepared for gaining the knowledge and crystallizing the healing that crystallizing. Yeah, I did want to say that. Crystallizing that knowledge into being whole, being in that healed state. And so by us doing that today, tomorrow, that would put us into transcending and taking flight in the art of who we are and what we came here to create and do. And so with that, I send you all my love, my gratitude. Allow yourself to breathe. Let that awaken your wisdom's influence. And I say that because that's tied to the heptad that we're closing out now. Just really breathing allows you to awaken your wisdom. And so with that, I shall see you all on future sessions. I love y'all. I appreciate every opportunity I get to share the oracle reading. And feel free to reach out to me to receive your own personal reading. And so with all of that, I say, in Lakesh Alakim, may that you enjoy your creation in every moment of now. I love y'all. Stay peace.